Now, and the other thing is that I'm gonna try to do these in 5 minute, little entries because easier to load up to YouTube that way. Um, but the other aspect is that I, all right. Here's the background story for me. The story of Sky Ainsworth. Okay. Or should I just say Sky? Just bleep it out later on for my personal safety. I grew up in Imperial Valley of California, which is below the sea level desert. 120-degree summers, and 120-degree weather lasts for about 3 to 4 months at times. And it's agricultural, and it's all Hispanic too. So, you know, I know what it's like to grow up in a farming community. I know what it's like to grow up in a conservative community, and I know what it's like to grow up in a Hispanic community. And on top of that, a California, community, Hispanic community. So, some liberal things, but yeah, it's pretty conservative. Very conservative around here, and that's the values I'm raised around. So yeah, my parents were married in a field. Yeah, they named their firstborn white, blonde-haired son Sky, and kept to that, even though everybody else was Hispanic, and he really stood out. For one thing, being the white guy, and then on top of that, he gave him a weird name. But anyways, I graduated from high school in '96. I went to UC Santa Barbara with a degree in English because that was kind of like I had no idea what I wanted to do if I was going to choose that. So I was like, all right, I'll go for that. And then, I graduated, BS my way through college. So hey, if you just want to slack your way through college, go degree in English. Of course you do have to pay attention in class. I mean you can't screw around on the books. Like you can't screw around in English classes. You have to study, or like really you have to study the professor what they're saying, and just repeat back what they say to you. So that's how you can do it. So yeah, that's my ticket. That's how I got through college. But that's the power of my mind. See, I'm all about observation. I'm all about paying attention. And then the other aspect is that I contributed so much to class discussion. I'm actively thinking. I'm listening to these guys talk about, whatever book we're supposed to read. I may have read the first few pages, but I know enough about stories and enough about just, human behavior, and listening, watching these guys that I know what's going on. So they bring up topics or they ask a question. I contribute the next 10 minutes. I'm able to come up with stuff just off the top of my head. And it's just about random stuff, about real life stuff, and apply it. And so because of that, I'm contributing like 30 to 40% to class discussion, and that really helped my grade. And that's why my assignments weren't always the best, but when they actually asked me some questions, I didn't get them. But a lot of times I did it. So college has changed you, and it changed me. It's all about studying. It's all about are you able to focus your mind enough to understand something and to really be able to follow through to the end, and just like whatever your subject is, and especially if it's liberal arts, can you concentrate and understand, and really explain this stuff. And the other reason, the other thing is that I was writing, going through college. I was actively, in fact, I was writing creative fiction, interactive fiction. So it was a group of people that they would write a chapter, and then the story continued, based off of what they wrote. But I was doing that, and every other day, writing 3 or 4 pages of narrative, descriptive narrative. And guys said, you know what, Sky, it's like we're reading Braveheart over and over again, and every other day, because that's how prolific I was in my writing. And this is just a little project, And I almost I pretty much wrote a battle or a fight in every chapter I wrote. It was funny as hell too, because it's all about Final Fantasy 3. So all you gamer nerds out there, guess who the enemy was? It was humans versus Moogles. Moogles, little white furry puffballs, and this crazy, bizarre internet stuff. But it was just funny, But I liked it because these guys, they did it once, and I witnessed it, and it was just them writing, together. So I did it. I got involved in it, and I started writing myself. So whatever I was learning in class that day, I would go home and write. I would practice writing it, So, illusion, foreshadowing, how to, basically, how do you craft a character? How do you craft, writing? How do you express yourself to the audience? That's, the essence of writing. It's just, how do what do you understand of this guy is saying? What is going on in this person's life even? Why is this influencing what they're writing? And that's really what you look at. That's why English and learning to write is all about just knowing everything. Just really, what is it that crafts this thing? That's going to be my writing. And just and whatever medium you're using is how what everything that goes into it, and what everything that's going to craft, or it's going to cause this point to exist, that is writing. And if you could write about everything, like literally, I could stand in the middle of the field and just start writing exactly how I got to the middle of the field, what's surrounding that field, what, how I'm feeling while I'm sitting in that field, my position, my body, like just what's happening to different parts of my body. Just I can write all of that, and that's, I think in essence that's what you should be able, what a writer is, and what a guy who studies English, that's what I ended up doing. So, and then you study poetry, which you always wonder about. Why do you study poetry? So you write better and more, your writing becomes smoother, and you're able to express yourself better.